It's Aaron here from Fight IQ, and in this lesson of our MMA Fundamentals series, we are covering the wall position. Subscribe now and let's get started. The wall position is unique to mixed martial arts when we talk about combat sports, and as such, it is often underutilized as the tactics that allow you to exploit the physical implications it carries with it are largely still unrecognized and misunderstood. It is worth noting that in real combative altercations, it is very likely that there will be a form of vertically aligned structure involved. Even structures such as car doors will offer the same physical implications as the wall. These implications may be exploited both offensively and defensively. In defense, the wall may serve as a third base of support that is always in the right position, making traditional takedowns far easier to defend when leaning against it. Study of UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Johnson will provide you with many examples of this, as he often hops straight to the wall when defending single leg takedowns. In offense, it may be used to inhibit an opponent's movement, preventing them from striking from the outside, sprawling their hips to defend a double leg takedown, or hiding their hips to defend bodylock takedowns, which may again be exemplified through the study of Khabib Nurmagomedov, who frequently exploited the unique physical implications of the wall to allow him to connect his hands around his opponents, forming the bodylock position. The objective in the wall position will remain the same as in the clinch: to add gravitational advantage to your deck by removing your opponent from the ankle, knee, and hip. However, the techniques demonstrated here have been adapted from their traditional forms to specifically meet the unique physical implications of the wall position. When performing the bodylock takedown against the wall, we once again need to connect our hands and create a mechanical lock. So that's our lasso there with the hands locked. The goal remains the same. We're trying to break the spine. So we want to get the head outside the hips in this direction. Now, the great thing about the wall is it inhibits the opponent's ability to break at the hips. So if we imagine Jordan bending over here, very unlikely that I'm going to be able to get his head all the way over there. However, because of the wall, the hips are stuck here. So he's forced to stay in this upwards position, making it very easy for us to drop the mechanical lock down to the hips, keep the head high, and force that head below the hips. At that point, we then simply turn off the wall and walk him to the floor. Now, it is important to note that a skilled opponent will make it very difficult for you to connect the hands here, so it will take time. Now, during that time, we need to ensure our opponent can't exit off the wall. To do that, in this scenario, we're using structure to pin them. This structure involves an underhook on the far side, the head positioned on the opposite side to your underhook. In addition, we want this leg placed inside both of our opponents. So we're not driving and pinning our opponent's center of mass to the wall, which is also an effective means of controlling someone against the wall, but instead we're using the alignment of our skeletal system to create a frame that they can't actually move off. So from there we have time, we can make the hand connection, and then we can capture the hips quite easily before walking them off the wall and completing the takedown. Performing a single leg takedown on the wall will first require us to pin the opponent to the wall. So in this time, we're doing that using pressure. The body lock, we used structure. So pressure through the diaphragm using mechanical alignment. Okay, so that's going to pin Jordan's center of mass to the wall, just like when you imagine someone pinned to the floor. Very poor position for producing or dealing with force. So once we establish that pin, we're going to use our mechanical lock to elevate the opponent's center of mass. By elevating the center of mass, the base of support, or the legs, will not be able to make contact with the floor. Once this position is attained, we apply pressure to one side or the other, and the opponent will simply rotate around their center of mass or fall over. They'll be taken down. So as we watch that play out, we'll be able to see elevation of the center of mass and then rotation around that central axis, completing the takedown. The The wall get up done against the wall is initiated by a backward scoot, enabling you to start establishing a base of support by placing your back upwards against the wall. Continue building your base by pushing your opponent's head away from you and extracting your bottom leg in toward yourself and posting on your knee. At this point, you need to establish an overhook with the hand that was pushing your opponent's head to stop them from taking your back. Stand up to complete the building of your base. From here, seek to establish inside head position and control of your opponent's opposite wrist as soon as you have risen to your feet. What you can see here, we've butt scooted to the wall, so we've got our head back above our hips, so that's good. Our center of mass is starting to get a base built around it. Now, if I was to use an overhook here, my opponent would use that shoulder to drive into my center of mass, keeping him pinned to the floor. So instead, we opt to remove that pressure by pushing on the head. However, once this knee is a post, my opponent will opt to transition to my back, which is a good decision for him to make. To negate his ability to take my back, I need to switch the head post to an overhook, a wizard position. That's going to stop him taking the back. So if we watch that as it continues, we go to the knee first. Now at this point, we'll see the head post become a whizzer. So as we continue to advance, it becomes the whizzer. Okay, I don't stand up before then, only after. Now that I have the whizzer, I can continue to build my base. So that means bringing this knee up onto the ankle, getting that triple extension back in play. As we continue to go, we stand up with the whizzer, opponent unable to take the base, seek control of the wrist. And from here, if we match wrist control, whizzer, and head or shoulder inside of your opponent's head, depending on how you align with your opponent, it's basically height, you're good to exit. So you can release this whizzer here. I often come to double wrist control. Your opponent has no mechanical gripping mechanisms that he can use to pin you on the wall anymore, and you can simply exit out of that position. Coming up in the next lesson of the Fight IQ Fight Smart series will be the floor position.